There are claims tonight that Australia's pharmaceutical industry could owe the federal government hundreds of millions of dollars. The courts have recently found that second, or what's known as evergreen patents on two well-known pharmaceutical drugs should never have been granted. The patent extensions protected those companies from competition from generic versions of the drugs. In a moment, we'll talk to Dr Brendan Shaw, the Chief Executive of Medicines Australia, the organisation that represents Australia's pharmaceutical industry. But first, this report from Suzanne Smith.
Last week, the High Court made a decision that received very little media publicity. It decided not to hear an appeal on the issue of evergreen patents, which are a second patent on a drug granted after the first patent has expired.
The effect of it is to extend patent protection over the one medicine up to 33 years in some instances, and that's ridiculous. If by changing the method of delivery they can say that somehow this is efficacious or it somehow improves the way the patient can take it, say once a week as opposed to 7 times a week, they might be able to convince the patent office that they're entitled to a patent on the new delivery method. Now, I think that's stretching it, in terms of an inventive step. But still, the Patent Office seems to be quite happy to grant these patents. And the courts now are saying, no, there are limits to all of this.
The High Court's moved back to federal court ruling that evergreen patents on two well-known pharmaceutical drugs were invalid. Patents typically last between 20 to 25 years. After a patent runs out, the generic medicine companies can copy the drug and sell the drug much cheaper. It saves the federal government hundreds of millions of dollars through the PBS.
It's good news both ways, because you need a robust patent system to reward invention, but you also want to ensure that the evergreening, as we call it, where somebody tries to inappropriately extend the intellectual property, doesn't occur either, because that's not good from a societal perspective.
There are two drugs at the heart of this court battle. The Generic Medicines Industry Association has calculated how much the PBS could recoup in lost savings. For the drug clopidogrel, a blood clot inhibitor, it claims the amount is between $476 and $631 million. It says the invalid patent was granted in July 2003, so the drug company, Sanofi Aventis, had many years of economic advantage.
Had the generic arrived, this would have triggered a 12.5% price cut for the government in the product.
That's effectively the amount that the PBS has overpaid Sanofi Aventis as a result of this evergreening patent. But the amount that it actually cost the PBS that it shouldn't have is $500 million, and it could have been $1 billion had it not been for the fact that the patent was successfully challenged.
The other drug is venlafaxine, an antidepressant made by Pfizer. The Generic Medicines Industry Association estimates that the PBS spent between $104 and $149 million too much on the drug. Dr Martin Cross says Pfizer was granted another patent only because it had developed a slow-release version of the same drug. That patent is now invalid. He says he hopes the federal government moves to recoup the money.
I hope they will, because this is just the same as if you were, use another analogy, if you were a taxpayer and you inadvertently didn't pay the right amount of tax to the government is hardly going to say, don't worry about it, we'll get you next time.
The federal government set aside funds in the budget for legal action against the pharmaceutical companies. IP Australia, the government's statutory authority charged with issuing patents, was offered the chance to respond, but they declined Lateline's offer. Lateline also approached Sanofi, but they declined to comment. Pfizer, the manufacturer of venlafaxine, released a statement tonight.
Every company will defend its patents from attack from other companies if they believe they have a valid patent. Generic companies challenge the patents of originator medicines, but they do not discover medicines and they do not invest in research and development to find the cures to human sickness.
The pharmaceutical industry says its $1 billion investment in the sector needs strong patent protection. Suzanne Smith, Lateline.